Hi guys, I'm Sylvie. Welcome to my brand new channel all about my motherhood and parenting journey. I have my notes here, so if I keep looking off screen, it's because I'm trying to not lose track of my thoughts. I've been a mom for a year now. I have a mischievous little 1-year-old girl. I'm also starting back my work in freelance makeup artistry, so I actually have another channel for all things makeup. I'll link it down below. I can't believe how little we're aware as first-time parents. I mean, obviously we're not born parents, but there's so much emphasis on pregnancy and labor and hardly any preparation for getting through that first year unless you do your own research. And honestly, that can be so overwhelming. So I was really grateful for the real stories and support from friends who were moms and parents before. I really dislike the thought of new moms feeling so alone when they just need to know, hey, there's literally millions of us going through the same thing. So, if we talk more about the raw places of motherhood and parenting, we would have way less anxiety. So I wanted to share all the things that I went through and my husband went through and learned, and hopefully it can ease some of the mystery and agony of this beautiful journey. So yeah, I wanted to begin all of this by telling you all my birth story, and it's gonna be probably pretty detailed, so bear with me. I was due on February 18th, 2021. That was last year. So leading up to delivery, I regularly went for long walks. I did some prenatal yoga, stretches in the mornings. I also drank a lot of red raspberry leaf tea, which is said to tone the uterus and make efficient contractions. I'll probably make a video all about how I prep for labor as well. So on February 9th, I went for a prenatal massage, which I was also getting through second and third trimester. At this point, my midwife told me that we can start doing different things to induce labor. So this was like 9 days before my due date. I refused the cervical sweep, which is like where they sweep the membrane of your cervix to start labor. I didn't want anything invasive. My massage therapist told me she was going to be doing a labor inducing massage. She said it wasn't like magic or anything, but that last time she did this, her client did go into labor that same day. So that evening, we had dinner with friends. So my husband and I went out with a couple of friends. We were having dinner, and then I started feeling this like uncomfortable cramping. Honestly, a little bit like I had to go poo really badly, and I was like, oh, I hate going to public bathrooms, first of all, and then trying to go number two in public bathrooms while you're really pregnant. It just gives me a whole another level of anxiety. So I also had the thought that, okay, I might be going into labor too, but anyway, it didn't really stand out to me that much. I just thought I was having, I don't know, yeah, number two urges. And then it passed. So I was like, okay, this is nothing. So we finished dinner, went home, and we went to bed. And then at 11:30 p.m., I woke up with uncomfortable cramps again. And I thought this was probably labor because it was stronger than normal cramps. And then I told my husband that I think I'm going into labor, and we ended up getting into a really big argument because he was like, oh, it's really late, and you're probably overthinking it, because he always says that sometimes I tend to, like, I don't know, over dramatize things, which maybe I do sometimes. Anyway, so after we got into that argument, I was like, okay, whatever. I was also trying to, do my calming hypnobirthing stuff, which I really didn't prepare well for. And I was like, great, this argument's gonna throw my calm, mood off, and I just don't want to deal with it. So he went back to sleep, and I went to the bathroom, and I saw that I lost my mucus plug because I had like the clearish jelly like discharge, and it had a little bit of blood going through it. And so I decided that I was going to start timing the contractions with the contraction timer app, and I'll list the one that I used down below. It was really good and clear. I saw that I was already about 5 to 7 minutes apart in contractions, and they would last maybe, I don't know, like 30 seconds to a minute. So yeah, after that, I decided to go back to sleep for a little bit longer. And then I woke up again at 2:30 a.m. and I had cramps so uncomfortable that I couldn't sleep anymore. I mean, they weren't like unbearable or anything. They were just, they felt like, again, really bad poo urges, poo pain, we'll call it. So the contractions, I was timing it again. And at this point, they were regularly 5 minutes apart. And I was like, oh, this is strange. They're already kind of close together. So I woke up my husband, Steven, and I called our provider, and they had said to keep watch over the next couple hours and try and labor at home as long as possible, which was my plan anyway. And yeah, just to let you guys know, like all first-time moms, most first-time moms, I wanted to go completely natural and try and labor at home until the last moment. And yeah, anyway, we'll let you know how that went. So yeah, I was laboring at home. That was already my plan because it's more comfortable. I decided to go take a shower, and my husband was gonna start packing his hospital bag. So I was showering because I wasn't sure when I would get a chance for the next while. I had planned to vlog my labor and also film a labor makeup tutorial because I'm a makeup artist. In the shower, the contractions were so intense that I had to drop to the ground and bear through. And I realized at this point, like, no filming was gonna happen. If it was this painful, I couldn't really focus. So right now the contractions were getting hard to bear through, and we went to the living room and we had a mattress that we had out there because we loved having like movie nights in comfort anyway. So I got on my hands and knees over a pillow to kind of support myself through the pain. Difficult part was the pain was coming from the back and the front, so it felt like no matter what position I got into, it didn't really help. The one thing that I do wish I did more was research pain managing positions. I think that would have helped for sure. When the contraction would pass, there would be no pain. I would just be normal and fine. So that also was helpful. Now, contractions, what they feel like, it's like a deep muscular pain, like your muscles twisting. It's not like a cut or a wound. Imagine it like a period cramp, like 50 times worse depending on your pain threshold. I have no pain threshold. At about 4 a.m. we called our provider again to check if we should head into the hospital. Even the contraction timer app kept saying this is a good time to head to the hospital. So yeah, we just wanted to double check. Contractions were consistently 5 minutes apart, and the app, yeah, kept saying go. So my provider said that if I could talk through the contractions, then I wasn't ready, and she said to wait till we were 3 minutes apart. I was like, well, I'm trying really, really hard to answer you and talk to you because you're asking me questions and I'm trying to be clear. So I was laboring for the next hour after that, and I felt like I was getting no break between my contractions. And at this point, I started feeling really fearful of like, how long is this pain, this amount of pain, going to last before I was ready to push? Or like, what if I've been in pain this long and I'm not even like 2 centimeters dilated? At 5:30 a.m. the contractions were 3 minutes apart. So then we called our provider again, and I wanted, because I was open to this just in case, I wanted some pain management with the nitrous oxide gas just to take the edge off. We called a friend to come pick us up. Originally Steven was gonna drive, but we decided that it's probably better if he sits in the back with me just in case I'm freaking out or something. So our friend arrived, bless this guy, such a good friend. He arrived at 6:10 a.m. in the morning. So I had to get up and walk and go down the elevators and walk out to the car. Sounds simple enough, but honestly, there's nothing worse than trying to move or walk anywhere through those kinds of contractions. Trying to go down the elevator had me in so much distress, and I was like, can people hear me screaming and moaning in the hallways right now? Yeah, I had to bring a Tupperware box with me in case I vomited from the pain because it was making me so nauseous. The car ride was about 20 minutes. All of the labor time, honestly, just felt like a blur. It was winter, but I had to have the windows down to cool my body because it really helped me to handle the pain a bit more. We got to the hospital at 6:30 a.m. and then we checked in. I still don't know how the nurses sit you down to get you to fill out a form and answer questions while you're having contractions. Like at one point I dropped to the ground to bear through, and one nurse was like, "Oh, don't do that, the floor is dirty." I was like, yeah, that's what I care about. The initial feel of the check-in area at the hospital felt like, oh, you shouldn't be reacting from your contractions. I don't know, maybe it was in my head. But yeah, that was the only weird experience. I delivered at the BC Women and Children's Hospital. Such an amazing place to go have a baby. Really great hospital. So I went to the preliminary checkup room and my midwife arrived and they gave me an IV for group B strep. I don't do really well with IVs, but I barely noticed because the pain of contractions is so much worse. And then they gave me the nitrous oxide gas. Honestly, all it did was really get me high and I could still feel all the pain. My husband was telling me later that it looked like I was calm and chill, but I was just really loopy out of my mind. My midwife asked if she could do a cervical check to see how dilated I was, and I said, sure. I just thought it was going to be like any old gynecologist visit. It basically involved having my midwife like literally ram her fingers far enough to get far enough to measure. It was very aggressive. That was honestly way more painful than my actual contractions up to that point. My husband said he'd never seen my face contort like that and it made him want to cry. After my cervical check, my midwife was like, well, no wonder you're in so much pain. You're already 7 centimeters dilated. So at that point, I realized if I continue further like this, in this intensity of pain, I would be miserable. And I didn't want to have a traumatizing first birth experience. Like I was really excited for it and to be present. So I asked for an epidural. And so within the hour, I was taken to the labor room. It was a beautiful large room with big windows and even like a platform with a mattress for the partner to rest if they needed. The anesthesiologist came up pretty quickly and talked me through the epidural. I was so loopy. Honestly, I barely knew what I was giving consent to. I just wanted the pain gone. So for the epidural, I had to sit upright with my legs hanging off the edge, and you have to like curve your back in like a cat position so your spine is exposed well. And I was told to not move at all while they did this because, you know, you could paralyze you or something. Try holding still while going through a contraction. After they sanitized my back, I had a contraction and I had to like put my hands behind me to bear through it. They had to disinfect my back again because I had potentially contaminated the area. So we went again and my husband held my hands and helped me hold still. They first give you a local anesthetic to numb the area, and that itself only feels like a really quick bee sting. You don't feel the actual needle and catheter going in afterwards, which is great. So if you're worried at all, you will not be aware of any of this because of how much more painful your contractions are. So within 10 minutes, it was like night and day. I had zero pain, but I could still move my legs and lower body somewhat, and I could also feel pressure. I could feel the pressure of the contractions, though a bit more faint, and yeah, just no pain. My anesthesiologist called it a walking epidural, so it's a lower dose. I really wanted to be able to push in different positions, so I asked for a lower dose. So my midwife then asked to break my water, and I said sure. She also asked if she could give me Pitocin, which I originally didn't want because I heard it could make things way more painful. But you know, since I had the epidural, I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead, it's totally fine. At 10 a.m., my midwife told me that I was already 10 centimeters dilated and that I could start pushing. Honestly, I couldn't believe that we got through to there so fast. In the delivery room was just my husband and midwife and an assisting nurse. The environment was so chill. It felt like a group of friends hanging out. There was no stress during pushing. We started with the squat position. So they place a bar in front of you and you have to put your arms over the bar so you can have some support while you're squatting. Yeah, honestly, I wasn't trying that hard at the start. I didn't have anything to, measure how hard I should be pushing. I was given the instruction to push when I would feel my stomach tighten from the contraction, because a contraction makes your pushing more efficient, because it's actually just helping to get the baby down. So then I would do like 3 pushes, each lasting 10 seconds for as long as the contraction lasted. Between pushing, I would just rest and chill. There was no stress. We were just laughing and talking. After a while, we didn't really have much progress, so we decided to switch positions. Then I was laying on my side with my upper leg against the bar, so kind of like sideways with like up like this. I'm not going to show you my feet because they're gross. And a long cloth was looped around the bar that I could pull, and the combination of pushing my leg against the bar and pulling the cloth would help to push more efficiently and just help you get some leverage. So I started to crown by now. My midwife told me to reach down to feel, and I could feel her hair, and it was so surreal. I was getting a little bit tired pushing sideways, so I decided to lay on my back to get a little bit of relief. By now, an hour had passed, and I was getting a little bit impatient. My midwife asked if I wanted a mirror to see what was happening down there. She said it usually motivates the mom to, keep going and have a bit more energy. And I thought it was a little weird, honestly. I didn't want to, but then I thought, well, I might regret not having it later. So I decided, well, I might as well. And then they brought the mirror out, and I'll tell you, when I saw my girl's head and her hair, seeing how close she was, I legit got so motivated. I started talking myself through the counts, and it was like tunnel vision for me. I was so focused. I could feel her feet kicking inside my belly while I was pushing her. It was so weird. I could also feel the stretch of her being in the birth canal, so like inside your uterus. Like I could feel the inside of my uterus stretching, but no pain though. So an hour and a half had passed by now since I first started pushing, and it was about 10 centimeters of her head being visibly crowned. My midwife wanted to check with the resident delivery doctor, because if it would go any longer, they may need to use a forceps or vacuum, which I really didn't want, but yeah, it just was going so long, so we were waiting to hear back from her. So while I was resting and waiting, we were just chatting. Suddenly, my daughter's head just popped out and my midwife quickly had to like catch her head, and she didn't fall out all the way or anything, guys. I literally didn't push or do anything. My kid was just eager to get out, I guess. So my midwife helped to get her shoulders out, and the rest of her just slid out like jelly. I was so happy that I got to feel the sensation of all of that, like her physically coming out. I was so worried that I would be so numb that I wouldn't feel a thing, but yeah, like no pain, but still getting to feel things. Yeah, that was perfection. I didn't want my daughter to be cleaned up or anything for those first moments, so I just wanted the first hour to be uninterrupted with her. So they put her on my chest, and she was like warm and wet. It felt not real, like, is this my baby here now? Gosh, for a moment I just felt like such a fraud, because in a moment you're now a mom, but you still feel like just you. I almost didn't know how to respond. I have this video of me meeting my daughter, and she's crying, and I'm just like, oh, it's okay, stop crying. Yeah, but anyway, I don't think you can really prepare for a moment like that. I just held her, and yeah, she was so much more beautiful than I imagined. You don't know what that moment's gonna be like. You're at once just dumb in awe, and at the same time filled with the most incredible beauty, feeling, love, everything wonderful that you could imagine. Yeah, so I had a 2nd-degree tear, and I had to be stitched up, so I couldn't feel a thing. I was still pretty numb. Steven gave her skin to skin while I cleaned up. Pretty much immediately after being stitched up, I could move my legs as well, and stand and walk. Yeah, it was really good timing. I didn't feel any pain still, probably still from like the lingering medication and also the adrenaline. It was crazy that in a moment, the physical stress and burden of carrying a baby was just gone. Even though I could walk, I did get wheeled into a room where we stayed overnight. Because it was like COVID times, we did get a private room and it was just me and my husband, no visitors allowed, which is kind of how I would have liked it. I didn't really want that many distractions. The whole experience was just so flawless and beautiful. The whole time I was pushing her out, you just can't help but feel like this insane superwoman. Like there's nothing I've ever experienced like it. It truly does feel like a miracle. Like I'm not a hippie, but it was actually otherworldly. I wish everyone could know what that's like. You literally bring a person into this world, and the beauty of it just really hit me. And it's amazing how being here now, it's like it all feels like such a dream. I even forgot what it was like being pregnant, like the feeling of being pregnant. Kind of know it in your head, but you forget what it feels like in your body. So that's my long positive birth story. If you guys have any questions or thoughts or comments, please let me know. Anything that you're worried about. I'm not an expert. I'm just here sharing my experience, and hopefully it like, you know, eases some of the worry and fears. Just, you know, if there's any encouragement I can give you for getting to that moment, it's just it's gonna go how it's gonna go. You can't control everything, right? You can have your plan, but it helps to be a little bit flexible. You don't know what choices you have to make for the best for your baby and for yourself, and you might have to choose your heart and mental health over what you had hoped to do. And I think the other thing is, if you are planning to go all natural and that's what you really want, no pain medications, you can do it. You have to believe you can do it. And a really important thing is preparing mentally for it and also having support around you. I can't tell you how much negative comments are around over a first-time mother wanting to go natural. You just have to create the best possible environment around you, and if you prepare, you will have success. And make sure whoever your birthing partner is understands this and understands how to support you and keep you calm through it. I think having a doula would help as well. I don't know. Yeah, there's so many different things. Whatever is really important to you, you can do it. But at the end of the day, baby's gonna be here, and you don't get a reward or a trophy for giving birth naturally. Please don't feel discouraged by anything. It's gonna go how it goes. Enjoy the moment and enjoy being present in it. It's probably the hardest physical experience I've ever been through, but at the same time, the most beautiful and rewarding. I can babble on forever, but that's my positive birth story. I would love if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Let me know what subject you want me to talk on or share about. I have so many things that I want to share with you guys. But yeah, it would be amazing to hear where you guys are at and how you're feeling, or if you're someone who has given birth, just share your experience. Let this be a community where you don't feel alone, and you know that there's so many people, so many of us going through this, and we get it, and you don't have to be scared. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys really soon. Bye.